All right. Thank you very much. If you just can go back to your seats, that'd be great. Thank you so much. We can start.
A couple of weeks ago was the 32nd anniversary of the film. That film came out in 1989. I wrote it in 1988. When you see Brother Eric Garner, when you see King George Floyd murdered, lynched, I think of Raider Rahim. And you would think and hope that 30-something motherfucking years later, the black people stop being hunted down like the animals. So, I'm glad to be here, though. Thank you.
Mylène, vous êtes une femme puissante.
Right now, in Brazil, we have reached 500,000 dead with the COVID pandemic. We know from technical data that if the government had acted accordingly, 350,000 people would have been saved. So I think one way of resisting is passing information around and talking and discussing.
1996, you took over the American Pavilion to watch the Knicks game. I've seen you interview Elton John. I've seen you be celebrated for Black Klansmen.
This world is run by gangsters. Agent Orange, here's a guy in Brazil, and Putin. That's it. They're gangsters, and they're going to do whatever they want to do, have no morals, no scruples, and that's the world we live in, and we have to speak out against gangsters like that.
If you don't mind, it's a question for all of you guys. It's a very simple question, but I know that it's always a moving moment.
I think when women are listening to themselves and really expressing themselves, even inside of a very, very male culture, we make movies differently. We tell stories differently. And I think women, in my experience, I used to watch movies. Sometimes they had women in them. Rarely were they made by women. And often I had this sort of extra muscle, and I wonder if you guys relate to this, where okay, you're watching a movie about a male lead character or even a woman lead character, but expressed by a man, fundamentally kind of a masculine take on it. And you have this extra little muscle you have to exercise to turn it into something that as a woman or as a young girl I could relate to. And I remember, for example, seeing The Piano and having some kind of different experience where I hadn't had to use that muscle. It just went in straight. And I think I was in high school, and I was so deeply inspired, and still, and I do think that a majority of women I'm curious to see, may choose different movies, may respond differently. I certainly think we make different movies and write different novels and different songs. I absolutely think that. And I'm so curious to see what happens with this new formulation and respect.
Palme, Sangro, Mélanie Laurent, Jessica Osner, Tahar Rahim, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Kleber Mendoza Filho et Monsieur le Président Spike Lee.